Thanks for checking in with JW Designs. This is part 2 of the walnut table and bench build. As you can see, I'm starting out with a few boards that are going to be for the benches. I'm starting by jointing these. After jointing all 4 boards, I'm going to take them through the planer. You'll see that here in just a moment. This jointing process goes well because the jointer has been adjusted to make sure everything's nice and straight. Once we've run everything through the jointer, now it's time to go through the planer, making sure that we get everything to proper thickness. Taking these boards through the planer, all 4 of them, we're moving from 1.5 inches to 1.25 inches, so we're taking 1/4 of an inch off. Once all the boards are planed, now it's on to the table saw where we're going to rip everything to the final width, and that will make these benches somewhere around 12 inches wide total. After we have everything to final width, we're now looking at layout, and as you can see, I'm kind of pointing out the different grain patterns that I want to be together. I'm also checking the ends to make sure that we have the grain direction offset correctly so that we don't have much cupping. Now that we have layout correct, we're taking out the Festool domino jointer, and I'm getting all of these set up so that we can get these dominoes put in these boards, getting the cuts correct, and making sure that these boards are jointed and won't have any problem coming apart. After the domino jointer, it's time for glue up, so we're rolling this paper out over the top of the assembly table to make it easier for glue cleanup and all of that jazz. I am using Titebond Type 3 glue in this, as you can see, and now it's time to make sure that we get these edges all glued up, spreading this out with a little kit from Rockler to help me make sure that everything is nice and tight as it goes in the clamps. On a bench glue up like this one and a tabletop glue up, I generally try to use somewhere around 5 clamps, 3 on the bottom, maybe 4 on the bottom. I'll offset those clamps with 2 or 3 across the top. I'm using these boards across the ends to make sure that as I clamp everything up, I don't have any cupping or movement with the table. Now that glue up and clamping is done, we've got the table out of the clamps, it's time for cleanup on these glue joints. What I tend to do is use a chisel that's fairly sharp, that's ideal, obviously, and then get all of the squeeze out cleaned up, then it's time for sanding. Once everything's sanded, now it's time to get everything to the final length. That's what I'm doing here at the compound miter saw. The benches are cut to length, and now it's moving on to rounding over the edges on these benches with my router. Everything has a nice round over on it. It's on to my favorite part, and that is the mineral spirits, where we get everything cleaned up and prep for mounting the legs. The legs are much like the legs for the table. If you want to see how this turned out, I'm encouraging you to check out this link for part 1 of the walnut table and benches build. I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out JW Designs. Feel free to check out any of the other videos, like, subscribe, feel free to share this content. You guys have a great one.